What it do, y'all? This is Bread Tuck Rob. This is the Bread Tuck Legacy podcast. I said this is Bread Tuck Rob. This is the Bread Tuck Legacy podcast. Grab my book, Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. Grab my book, Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. And all my new people that recently started following me on Instagram, man, shout out to y'all, man. We out here grinding, man. We out here moving. We out here trying to make things happen. Let me sip for a second, man. Let me sip for a second, man. Got my Corona. No, I don't, because they not paying. I have my beverage right here. Let me sip. Got that thing on me real quick. The boys try to run up in on me, and I got my family with me. I can't play. So I got to be ready to defend my family, man. Grab my book, Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror, available on Amazon right now, man. I was sitting with the homies, man. They told me I need to get my website game popping. I be pushing Amazon all the time because my book on there. They said if you had your own site, you'll be pushing your own site like crazy. So I'm in the process of working on getting my own site to where you could get my book from there, and maybe I'll have merchandise or whatever, but everything will be a one-stop shop. Excuse me. Probably have some blogs on there or whatnot because I like to write, man. I just think as businessmen, as creators, as entrepreneurs, man, we have to have a storefront. Now that storefront doesn't have to be physical, but online. To do a website, it's like what, $200 a year? Now it gets higher if you get like the upper echelon packages or whatever. But to do a basic website, man, you might pay $200 a year, $250 a year. And I believe it's time for me to start taking advantage of that, man. I drop videos consistently. I do this podcast consistently. I don't miss weeks, Doc. I believe if you're gonna do something, do it. Don't play with nobody, man. I hate inconsistency. I hate inconsistency, man. You can't. I'm not one of them people that's gonna do something and then not do it and then get back into doing it and then fall back and then nah, man. We either gonna be consistent or we not, man. So I feel like I mastered that consistency. So it's time for me to take it up a notch, man. Create my own storefront, man. Create my own hub to where if you want my information, you come straight to me. Because check this out, man. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. But what if they all got tired of me and was like, we don't want you no more? Then what? And as a businessman or a creator, I have to make sure I'm, connecting with my people no matter what, man. Let me take a sip because I'm going off. But that's where I'm at with it, man. So this week I'm gonna work on, doing my website or whatnot, man, and we're gonna make some things happen. Man, I saw a very interesting article, man. And this isn't a sports podcast, so I'm not talking about. I love sports, but when I do my sports and stuff, I'll talk about that on Facebook or YouTube. But this player that we recently had, man, Chris Paul, who took us a game from the finals. I saw an article where he said that he's implementing programs in the NBA to teach players how to manage their money. And that is important, man. He also went on to say that when he was playing for the and he wants to get all 32 teams in on this. Hey, guys, if you want this is available. Now, he also said that when he was with the LA Clippers, he used to have the team owner. I don't like to refer to white men as owners. He used to have the team owner, Steve Ballmer, come and talk to the players about what he does with his money. That's important. That's important because when you think about it, you see a lot of these documentaries, man. You see a lot, J-Sam Leadership, you see a lot of these documentaries like Broke, and what Broke is, I remember watching Broke. That was a documentary about No Camp Fam. What's up with your fam? Broke was a documentary about how athletes blew a bunch of their money, man. You had Andre Rison on there, man. I think they was talking about Antonio Davis, man. These cats was making, well, not Andre Rison because he in the NFL, but the NBA money is stupid. These cats was making like $80 million, man. And then ended up being broke. And to watch this documentary, it was like, my God, like, how can you, now me being a regular person with regular money, man, I'm a school teacher. Then I sell my book. I'm doing other things. You know, I'm trying to figure it out because my baby Nyla got to eat. I ain't gonna lie to you. But as a cat that's sitting and watching that, I'm like, man, how can you lose $80 million, man? Now again, I'm not living on that side of the ball, man. So or that side of the fence or whatever you want to call it, man. So these guys are taking care of their mamas, their daddies, their cousins. They got all kinds of people coming at them for money. They tricking off money. You know, they making bad investments because when they get this money, financial advisors come to them and they tell them, hey man, you should invest in this. And them not having the information, they invest in a bad investment and end up losing money. And then with as an athlete, man, you have a window. You have a window, man. You know, it got to a point where Michael Jordan couldn't compete as a pro anymore. And he's the greatest, you know, depending on who you ask or whatnot. It comes to a point where you can't compete anymore. So within this, for the greats, you know, they have a 10-year window, 15-year window. But what if you're not so great? What if you're only in the NBA for 5 years, 3 years, but you make a large sum of money? Chris Paul is creating a program to where he's saying, hey man, look, we finna figure out how to manage this money to where we're not just blowing this money. And what better guy to do it than him? A guy that's a veteran, a guy that's in the same position as a lot of these cats. You see, an NBA guy wouldn't respect me telling him what to do with his money. I don't have his type of money. I don't have his money. But Chris Paul, a cat that's in there playing against you, hey fam, let's talk about how to maneuver with this money. I think that's a brilliant idea. And him going to the team owners and saying, hey, come talk to us about what you do with your money. Now think about it. You have 32 team owners. One of them's black, Michael Jordan. And then, you know, the rest of them are white and, you know, whatever. I don't think they're going to be willing to give up all the secrets. But if Chris Paul could get them to kind of give up a little bit of the game, and then they take that little bit of game and they kind of maneuver on their own. Now, what I'm liking about black culture right now, man, we're being more sound with our money. I'm not saying we're making the best decisions, but now the information's out there. Books been available. YouTube has been available. Articles been available. The internet is available. So black culture, and we're able to see things what's happening on the internet. We're able to see what's happening with these documentaries like Broke. We're able to see what, you know, gentrification, that opens up our eyes to where, man, we've been claiming these blocks so long and fighting over these blocks that we don't even own. We need to start owning. And it's even trickling down to our rap music. You know, it's not just shoot 'em up, kill anymore. Jay-Z put out a whole album, 444, saying, hey man, invest in art, leave a legacy for your children. Rick Ross got a song called It's Time to Buy Back the Block. And they leading by example. Hey man, I own these Checkers over here. Hey man, I own these Wing Stops over here. 2 Chainz saying, hey man, I bought my baby mama some daycares. You know, I'm thinking about buying a gas station. That's powerful. And to hear the people that we look up to talk like that, it's pushing something in us mentally, man. To hear Tyler Perry get up and say, hey guys, I own my movie production studio. To hear Master P say, hey man, it's ownership, that's powerful. So I love to see Chris Paul going to these players and saying, hey man, it's time for us to kind of get in control of our money, man. We out here tripping, brother. And you know, they say that Chris Paul's not the greatest player to play with. They say a lot of players don't like him, but this will make you respect him. Because at the end of the day, let's be honest, man, sports and everything, that's cool, but sports is really worthless, man. It's entertainment. You know, and I love this coming from a guy who loves sports. I have on a Rocket shirt, man. I love the Texans and all that, but sports is really worthless, man. We sit and we watch this stuff. We're entertained. You know, it's just to kind of keep us busy. But outside of sports, though, What maneuvers will you make when you're not able to play as long? You know, when you're not able to play anymore, because that day is coming. So I'm glad to see Chris Paul preparing these cats for that. Now, all he can do is kind of put the information out there, set up infrastructures for them to take part, and just get the information and do what they do with it. These are grown men. But I also believe that, and not to get too far off the subject, but this is relating, we have to teach our kids that sports isn't the only way. Because a lot of us not going to make it in sports. I wanted to be a professional. I wanted to be a star wide receiver at Florida State, then go off to play for the Houston Oilers. Didn't happen. I wanted to be a star point guard, and drop buckets. I wanted to be Allen Iverson in the league, man. I'm 5'10", man. I'm 5'10", 170 pounds, man. I wanted to average 35 points a game. Didn't happen. My dribbling ability ain't there. My shot is off. So I had to figure it out outside of sports. Not saying that I'm just on top of the world right now and all that, but we have to teach our kids to maneuver and find their way, man, because fam, everybody's not going to make it in sports. Think about this, man. In basketball, there's 32 teams. I'm going to do the math. There's 32 teams. You have 32 teams, and you have a max 15 spots on the team. And when you're the 15th player, you don't even see the court, but there's 15 spots. So there's only 480 spots on an in the NBA basketball to physically play. And there's millions of people in the world. So let me sip, because I'm about to say something important. Check this out. In my neighborhood, man, I see this cat walking back and forth to 24 Hour Fitness. He's always carrying his basketball, man. He just I see him do this every day. So in my mind, now I'm assuming he puts a lot of time into playing basketball, walking there and playing. What if he doesn't make the league? All that time that he put into basketball, he could be putting somewhere else. I think I said this on this podcast before. But what if we put that time what if we pushed our kids, the time that we're having them invest in playing sports, what if we had them invest in drawing? If we had them invest in learning coding, learning technology? We can create our own version of Bill Gates. We can create our own version of Steve Jobs. We can create our own version of Mark Zuckerberg. We have it in our kids. We have it. We're just steering them in we need to steer them in the right direction. Sports is not the only way, man. That's not for us. And singing and dancing, that's not the only way. Let's push our kids. Okay, if you want to sing and dance and all that, that's cool. But do the choreography too. You want to act and all that, cool. Write the script though. Write the script. Let's push our kids in that direction. To be bosses, to be owners, man. Because that is important for our kids. We want them to be able to make the decisions. We don't want them man, think about them sports athletes, man. They make a bunch of money, and I'm going to leave this topic, but let me get this on. Them sports athletes, they make a lot of money, but they have no say-so on where they play, man. They could get traded tomorrow, and they just got to uproot their family and go wherever they was traded. Is that what we want for our kids? Nah, fam, we not settling for that, man. So shout out to Chris Paul, teaching them brothers different things to do with their money, and getting the team owners and being like, hey, you tell them what you do with your money, so they could boss up at that level too. Because think about it, if the team owners are able to give some of these players $100 million, $200 million dollar contracts, how much money they working with though? How much money they working with? But shout out to Chris Paul, man. Check this out. In West Philadelphia, man, it was this high rise that caught on fire. And this 35-year-old brother named Jerome, man. 35-year-old brother named Jerome. His mama stayed on the 15th floor. She's bedridden. She can't move. on our own, and he went to the high rise. And he tried to go through the front door. He tried to see about his mama, but the policeman had it blocked off. They said, "Hey man, nah, we ain't gonna let you in here, and if you hang around, we're gonna send you to jail." He said, "Bet." That man went on the side of the building and started crawling up. He crawled up to the 15th floor, got in the window to see about his mama, dog. That boy Jerome. Jerome got up in that building to see about his mama because he saying nothing gonna keep him from his mama, man. My mama's in trouble. I'm going to get my mama. But he got up in there and his mom was like, "Hey, baby, Jerome, I'm all right. You know, they done checked on me and all that. We making some moves. We putting the fire out." And he said, "Bet." And then he climbed back down them 15 stories, man. But that just shows you the power of a black man. Black sisters got that power. Black men got that power too, man. That boy heard his mama was in trouble. And he, watch this. He heard his mother was in trouble, and he wasn't waiting for the authorities to help his mother, to save his mother, because he loves his mother more than the authorities do. Think about that for a second, man. I love my mother's past, but I love my mother more than the police love my mother. So if my mother was in trouble, I'm on the way. If y'all beat me, they're cool, but her son is on the way. Think about that, man. That boy Jerome, when they asked Jerome, man, why did you do that? He say, man, in West Philadelphia, you know, that's where Will Smith was from. In West Philadelphia, born and raised. But in West Philadelphia, he say they used to jump off roofs and all this. And then he's a roofer and he does construction. So he has experience with climbing up buildings. But that man went to see about his mama, dog. He said when it comes to his mama's health, it ain't no boundaries, dog. I'm gone. I'm out. I don't care what y'all talking about. If y'all get there before me and y'all the police and firefighters, cool. Because y'all mama not in there. You know, if it gets too tough for y'all, you know, with the fire department, like the fire chief has to make a decision. And if he feels like it's too risky to where he could lose his men, he could be like, nah, it's too dangerous. And whoever's up in there, they just end up dying. Now, they put their lives on the line, so that's, you know, shout out to them. But the fire chief gets to make the decision on if his men go in there or not. I can't leave that up to y'all when it comes to my family. I'm gonna go see about my family. So shout out to that brother Jerome, man, for going and seeing about his mama. And that takes me to a question. Let me take a sip. That takes me to a question. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I have one more topic and I'm going to get up out of here. Black men, when it comes to our children, are we willing to die for our children? Example, you have the police killing our children, you know, and then you see these videos where people of other cultures are mistreating and putting their hands on our children. And some of us are waiting on the law to handle that. So I'm just asking a simple question. As black men, are we willing to die for our children? And I'm leaving that alone. I just want to put that on your mental, but I'm leaving that alone. My last topic. Kevin Garnett. And again, this isn't a sports podcast, but I'm talking about things that are happening outside of sports with athletes. The first one was Chris Paul. Now I'm talking about Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett played for the Minnesota Timberwolves, went to the Boston Celtics, won a championship, then went to Brooklyn, and then back to the Timberwolves and retired. But he has to pay his ex-wife $100,000 a month in child support and spousal support. Now check this out. Now I don't know, I forget if it's his ex-wife or if they're in the process of getting divorced. But anyway, she was seeking $46,000 a month, but until they kind of get the actual factuals together about the case and everything, he has to pay her $100,000 a month. Now that comes out to $1.2 million, and they have 2 children together. Here's my question. Okay, no. Before I get to my question, they have 2 children together. She's seeking child support. She signed a prenup that said, if she leaves, if they break up, she gets either $500,000 or $1 million. You know, but you leave with nothing but that money. And this is something that she signed according to the article I read. Now, she's seeking spousal support. Kevin Garnett doesn't want to pay the spousal support, and she wants the child support. Does it take $100,000 a month to raise a child? That's what I'm saying. Now, me raising my child, I'm raising my child with teacher money. You know, it's a different. I'm not in Kevin Garnett's boat, but I'm asking the question because I see this happen to athletes a lot, man. And where I'm at is, until somebody could tell me differently, you know, a woman in that position could explain some things to me. I don't think the man should have to pay all that. I think there should be some type of cap on child support. Now check this out. When you're an athlete like that, here's things that should be required. If y'all break up, divorce, you have a child, whatever. You have to provide housing for that child. You know, pay off a house for them. You have to pay for college. Make sure that child eats and everything. And and you know what? The mother, if she's not working, give her a maximum of $100,000 a year. Now, in giving the mother $100,000 a year, this doesn't include the house. That's separate. They have to have a house to stay in. College has to be paid for. A child has to eat and all that. But the mother gets $100,000 a year. This is the rules I would set. And you know, the taxes, well, no, you don't pay taxes on child support. But in different, you know, the cost of living is different in certain places. So make that money comparable in other places. But if a woman is not working and she doesn't have to pay for a mortgage and she gets $100,000 a year and doesn't have to pay for college, she should be okay. She should be okay. If you want more money, go work. Go find a job making $30,000 so now y'all can get $130,000 a year. But position that woman to where she's good and she don't have to work. Now she makes all kind of bills and all that debt, that's on her. But as a man, you're gonna make sure that your child's being taken care of. Now check this out. If you've been with this woman ride or die from the jump before you had everything, and she was with you shooting in the gym and she was holding it down while you was trying to figure it out, man, that's a different story. That's a different story. But if you met a woman while you was popping and y'all got children, man, look, you get a house, children get college, and $100,000 a year, man. Because this money is meant for this child, but let's keep it a buck. That money is really enough for you to take care of this child and not have to work. So you're being taken care of off that money too, man. But I think that when it comes to child support, the laws have to be, we have to work on them laws, man. The laws have to be a tad bit more fair than what they are, man. Lee, what's up, man? But yeah, for the most part, that's it, man. I hope, you know, Kevin Garnett, they figure out the situation, and I just hope that that we figure out this child support situation, because that's not cool, man. I feel like the man is out here getting the shaft. Pause. Let me take a sip, and you know what? I'm gonna leave you with one thing before I get up out of here. You know, I go to churches. I go to church and I talk to, you know, I see different churches on TV. I've been to other churches. And, you know, the majority of people in these churches, man, you know, and I'm talking about the black church, they be all, you know, just living and getting by, and oh, God is good. My light's about to be cut off, but God is good. And, you know, in churches, I know people who could quote the Bible up and down. And, you know, churches preach, you know, doing right by God and tithing and everything. But then churches, in the Bible, it also says a great man leaves an inheritance to his children's children's children. Why don't we have lessons in the black church, or that I haven't seen? Why don't we need to have lessons on how to go about getting that inheritance, though. We have lessons on everything else, tithing and all that, but we need to have lessons on how to go see about that inheritance that we can leave to our children. Now, a lot of us who seek this information outside of the Bible or seek this information outside of church, we have it. We ain't tripping. But for the ones who are in church who aren't seeking that information, I challenge all pastors to do a sermon on how to leave an inheritance for your children's children's children. But y'all know what it is, man. This is the Bread Tuck Legacy Podcast. This is the Bread Tuck Legacy Podcast. We drop every Sunday. I believe in consistency. I don't believe in half doing stuff, man. Grab my book, Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. Grab my book, Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. That's available on Amazon right now, man. Go support my book, man. That book, I use that to support my daughter, man. To support my daughter's future, to where she don't have to settle for no good man, because she has her own money, because daddy took care of that. So when somebody gets with her, it's going to be because they have value and they can add to and they can lift her up. Not only financially, but spiritually, mentally. But go grab my book, man. Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. This is the Bread Tuck Legacy Podcast. This is the Bread Tuck Legacy Podcast. And I'm your host, Bread Tuck Rob, man. Y'all mucho take it easy. H-Town all day. God bless y'all.